Hello and welcome once again to another Fred and John Talks episode. I'm Fred.
And I'm John.
And we are best friends, and as we often say, we love doing this, love sharing our ideas, love getting your feedback. Ask you if you like what you see to like, share, subscribe, and get the word out. So, today, John is going to take the lead, but I'm going to do the introduction. He's going to take the lead because in answer to feedback we've gotten from numerous viewers of ours, they're hungry for more on each topic. We did an introductory episode to artificial intelligence. We just scratched the surface, and today, in answer to the suggestions, we're going deeper. We're going to unpack this on a deeper level, and probably won't be the last episode on AI because that's one of the.
There's a lot to say.
There's a lot to say. There's a lot going on. And it's a cutting edge, technology. So I'm going to start with a couple of remarks about AI that are germane to what we're doing today. It starts with this. And like the saying goes, it's an overused saying, but I'm going to use it anyway. You can't make this stuff up. One night, John and I had a phone conversation where we were discussing this video we're going to do, AI, and we were brainstorming and sharing ideas and so on. And the very next day, now I have to tell the context of what happened the very next day. As you know from watching our videos, my career has been as a mental health and marriage therapist for 31 years. And to maintain my license, I have to take a certain amount of courses per year that amount to 20 CEUs, continuing education units. But to tell you the truth, even if I didn't have to do it to maintain my license, I would do it because I've always considered myself, and I always will be, a lifelong learner. And I want to encourage you to do that too. Learn, read, study, investigate. But this course that I'm taking, and I started it the next day. It's an online course that you get credit for. It's a very extensive course on couples counseling, which I do a lot of. And in the introductory module, the therapist talks about AI, not artificial intelligence.
What does he call it?
It's a she.
Oh.
Artificial intimacy.
Oh.
And I was blown away. I said, this can't be happening a day after I'm talking to John about artificial intelligence. And she goes into, in depth how, and this actually plays in with and interweaves with both mental health, and loneliness. And we've done episodes on that because she says, because of things like social media and online dating, what you have a lot of the times, and I'm a poster child for this, I'm a cautionary tale because I've done so much online dating. It's not true intimacy, it's artificial intimacy. You're exchanging texts and emails and stuff, and half the time you don't even meet the person or get a chance to have that human interaction. So she goes into it in depth. I almost wish I could, post that, but I have a rights infringement. I couldn't do it. But if you want to look up, this woman is brilliant. She's an international teacher. She teaches therapists. She founded 2 podcasts. She's written dozens of books. Esther Perel. It's spelled Esther, but she's her accent is a really cool accent, but I haven't looked up where she's from. be that as it may. Esther Perel, Perel, and look up in Google and see if she has posted a talk about artificial intimacy. It's very informative, at times very alarming, but very, very interesting.
Fred, I'm going to pick up on that.
Yeah.
I love the phrase artificial intimacy because historically we used to communicate socially in groups, over fire, over camps, over visiting each other in homes, through church groups, through social clubs. We had radio, we had press, we had the internet. And oh my goodness, with the development of transistors, boom, we've got social media. We've got very untransparent organizations and corporations that don't share how they're affecting our behavior. In fact, they're trying to direct and addict us to behaviors.
Yes.
And and that's what I think is interesting is artificial intimacy. I just wonder if it's the same thing as artificial intelligence.
That's a very good lead into another part of my introduction. I have two more things, but that's a great lead into. I'm reading a book right now that was recommended to me called Dopamine Nation.
Yeah,
dopamine is one of the main neurotransmitters in the brain that we kind of call the feel-good chemicals of the brain. They carry messages from neuron to neuron. And dopamine and serotonin, norepinephrine, among other neurotransmitters, are highly correlated when there's not enough of them in your brain. You're not producing enough. It's highly correlated with the illnesses of major depression, anxiety, and other mental health issues. But this book, Dopamine Nation, goes into... matter of fact, let me just cut to the chase and say she refers to America as the land of addictions, and she goes far beyond the traditional addictions of dual addictions of alcohol and drug abuse into addictions to electronic devices, social media, and what's lurking behind almost all of it, artificial intelligence. Very good book. Highly recommend it. Artificial Intelligence. Dopamine Nation is the name of the book. And my last piece of introductory material, and then John will wow us with his
We'll
research,
see.
his latest research and knowledge.
We'll see about that.
This is another thing. You can't make this stuff up in terms of timing. I just read this morning. I made a Xerox copy of it. It's from a weekly magazine that I get and really like called The Week. And it's a little blurb, and it reads, New York City Mayor Eric Adams has been using voice cloning artificial intelligence to make robocalls to residents in Spanish, Mandarin, Cantonese, Yiddish, and Haitian Creole, languages that Adams does not actually speak. The messages about city events do not include a disclaimer stating that they were generated using AI. In other words, he's using AI, but he's not telling you that he's using AI. So it can be very deceptive.
Not transparent.
Not transparent.
That's the whole deal, Fred.
Yep.
What I've learned is that AI is basically composed of open and closed. And open is when you have people who want to share the power and information and the way they've developed it. And closed is like big tech, like Google and Facebook, these big organizations that have been private for years and years and years. They don't want to share what they are doing with us or to us because it's proprietary. Okay? Yeah. And it's interesting you read that because I watched the president sign an executive order, the president of the United States signed an executive order yesterday about guidelines about artificial intelligence. And one of the guidelines is that if you do what Adams has done, you have to be transparent and you have to show that this is generated by artificial intelligence.
Okay, so what he does is now, because of this presidential action,
Correct.
is now he's bound by law to reveal that
Correct.
he's using AI.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. I'm with you.
When I looked at some of the features of the executive order yesterday, Fred, I was a little disappointed because it really boiled down to big organizations and big tech governing itself. I.e., if you're going to develop something that may be harmful to our nation's defense, or if you're going to develop something that may break governmental or state laws, you have to come forward and tell us about that so we can evaluate it. I just don't see big corporations or big tech doing that. They haven't been doing that for years with social media. They didn't tell us about all the algorithms that were addicting kids to information that was not accurate, or trying to get them addicted to medications or get them addicted to body image issues. So they didn't really share that. And they're still not controlled.
And one thing I left out that your comment just reminded me of, in referring to Dopamine Nation, the author, she makes the case that these different things that Americans are becoming addicted to. I mean, just think of, I mean, it goes without saying, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Just think of how, you know, we have our phones in our hands or on our computers, you know, and all this electronics, and that raises, you get a dopamine high.
Yes.
Yeah. And then there is such a thing as, you know, having too much dopamine. There's an old saying, even too much of a good thing is bad for you. So it actually promotes addiction, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's about power, too. I've seen interviews with politicians in Congress who've retired and now come back to be interviewed, and they say, oh, I used to love the likes and the information I'd get from TV and watching myself on television, and all the feedback my staff would get and tell me about how, you know, I did a great job on this interview, or whenever the broadcaster was asking me questions, I was able to answer this and answer that, and that gave me a high. I wanted more of that. You know, I want to be out there more. I want to be talking more. I want to be able to have influence even beyond the people who elected me.
Yeah.
I want to be, you know, a white knight for the whole country or for the whole state, even though I'm only elected by a small group of people.
Perfect example of the case she makes in this book. That people, you know, this feels good. I want more of it.
Yes.
I want more of it. I want more of it. Just like a drug addict.
Well, one of the things I was going to share with you, Fred, it's a story I think you'll find interesting. You know, I play pickleball. And last week I was playing pickleball. When we finished, there were people standing around talking to this woman. And she seemed to be entertaining two fellows, and another lady joined her, and they were talking back and forth. And I'd stopped for the morning, so I went over and started listening. And what I started gathering was that this lady, who's now I think around 62 years of age, lost about 4 years of her life, going back into the late 50s, from having a stroke. She had a stroke, which was due to a cerebral vascular hemorrhage. She had a bleed into the brain because of a malformation in her brain. And thank heavens, by the way, it's not one of these congenital malformations in the brain that might have been passed on, that genetic propensity to develop bad blood vessels or malformations inside the brain didn't get passed on to two daughters as she has. So that's not a worry for the daughters.
Yeah.
Much like if you have the gene for breast cancer, you have to worry about your daughters.
Yeah.
So she's talking about having had this stroke, having to be intubated and have her breathing done for her, and having to be paralyzed for months and months and months. While that was going on, she had a second stroke, even while she was paralyzed and being medicated in a hospital. After she starts her recovery process, she finds that she has very little hearing, her vision is not correct, and she has virtually no language and a lot of lost memory. She fights back with help from medical staff and from physical therapy and from machines and maybe some artificially programmed exercise equipment to help get her muscles and legs and limbs moving. But she got to the stage where the staff in PT, physical therapy, said, you're going to have to live in a wheelchair for the rest of your life. And she said to the group of us talking to her, I was not able to talk, but I was going, and I think they understood that, not me. I'm not going to live the rest of my life in a wheelchair.
No way, Jose.
No way, Jose. And so I'm listening to this story, and as a retired physician, Fred, I'm thinking, she's standing there, she's animated, she just got through playing pickleball, and this lady lost 4 years of her life, and she's now walking, playing. She used to play tennis. She doesn't try tennis, but she's trying pickleball because it's a smaller court. She finished the story by saying that she got almost completely recovered into like year 3. Speech therapy, memories came back to a certain extent. Her vision is still a little double right now, but she's still tackling sports and things like that. She used to ski, but she's not going to try that. And she said, guess what? I was just about on the road to recovery and I got hit by a drunk driver. Hit by a drunk driver and reverse.
Oh my gosh.
For basically about another year. So here she is in early 60s, 4 years of her life. And I'm thinking, Fred, as she's talking, I'm still just kind of reeling from trying to understand the story.
Take all this in.
I'm thinking, her grit and her determination was not artificial. There's no way artificial intimacy or intelligence can infuse that kind
of perseverance. Tenacity, there's the word
Correct.
that comes to mind. That was
tenacity.
What a fighter.
And helped by humans.
Yes, helped by humans. Yeah.
Coached by humans.
Yeah.
Encouraged by humans.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I wanted to throw that in because I think it's a wonderful study.
Perfect.
It's just an unbelievable story. Now, one thing that I think the public needs to understand is that AI can be used for a lot of great, wonderful things. There's no question about that. We apparently have gone in the last few years from just a few words to poetry being written or being able to chat with chat bots, one of which is called named Pi, P-I. Pi will interact with you and carry on a conversation, and apparently has been designed to be curious and helpful and non-judgmental and
human qualities.
Kind of human qualities created by human beings to be like that.
Yeah.
But if you think about the way social media has used algorithms to influence our behavior, AI can take an ideology of a minority or of a bad purpose for society and conflate it to make it look like a big deal or to make it look much more important than it really is.
Yeah.
So that's one worry. But I was really impressed several days ago by watching Prime Minister Sunak. He's the Prime Minister of England, and he's a very engaging young fellow. I don't know how many people in Britain are in favor of him, but he's had a lot of blowback over his handling of financial matters. But he's trying to connect with the people of Britain, and he gave a talk about a report that the Brits have done on artificial intelligence, because he says we want the government to be transparent and to tell you, the public, what the risks are associated with it and what the good things are. Yeah. And one of the things that just struck me and made me sit down was he said, in actual fact, the group studying it has come up with the concept that this could be as influential in our history as the pandemic we just lived through. Think about that. That it could be just as influential as nuclear war. And we've heard that too with World War II. And he said if superintelligence, if the AI businesses and corporations that are trying to develop super intelligent AI algorithms, then you're going to have the potential for criminals, terrorists, bombs, sexual predators, unlike what we have now, which is already bad.
It's already bad.
It's already bad.
This could make it worse.
This could make it worse.
Like you start out by saying, there's the pros and cons of it.
Right. The other thing that I saw that I think the public ought to be aware of is the UN General Secretary a few days ago of the United Nations has put together a 39-member panel from different countries, different nations, to study the impact and effects of artificial intelligence on really the world. Because the UN is a conglomerate of many, many nations
right.
that have come together, which circles back to what Prime Minister Sunak was saying, is this is a global issue,
yeah.
needs to be looked at globally, and that there need to be guidelines and guardrails out there to help individuals, I guess, survive AI, because we're already starting to be onslaughted
yeah.
by AI.
You know, and I have to make the side comment that I'm gaining more of these videos we do. I'm gaining more and more respect for the UK and its governing people, including the Prime Minister, whatever you call them, because they, just as a refresher, they have a government level position, Minister of Loneliness.
Yes.
They've shared it with Japan. Mm-hmm. They really have created a national conversation.
Yes.
And they are disseminating that, like you pointed out, to
yes.
Japan.
Yes.
I have a lot of a growing respect for how they're approaching some of the modern day issues that are of the highest importance to modern man.
Another interview I watched, Fred, was with Mustafa Suleiman. He's the CEO of Inflection AI. And Inflection AI, the development of it, is now partnered with Microsoft. So Microsoft wants to have that AI progress and all that that they've developed.
What is Inflection AI?
That's just the name of their corporation.
Oh.
Just like Microsoft.
Okay.
Or Google.
Gotcha.
Google then has apparently, in order to keep up with Inflection AI, developed Bard, which is another...
I've heard of that, yeah.
Bard is another artificial intelligence platform.
Wow.
These platforms are going to be a little bit in competition with each other.
Sure.
For public information and public surveillance.
Yeah. And for dollars.
And for dollars. Well, I think a lot of this does come back to the dollar, that if you have closed AI, which is the mega tech people who've already succeeded in a lot of ways with their social media platforms and algorithms to influence us, they haven't been controlled. So I don't think that there's that much hope that AI will be able to be controlled. At least I'm not confident about America. Maybe in Britain and other countries there'll be guidelines, but in America it's more about letting things run free and being,
free enterprise,
unregulated. And so we have to be married to that concept. If we're going to be unregulated, we may have a lot more problems than other countries with AI.
Okay, question.
Yeah.
You cited the fact that our president signed something yesterday. Is that a step in the right direction of, overseeing AI and having accountability for it?
I haven't read through the whole document that he did in executive order. I guess what kind of troubles me about it is that it wasn't, in my understanding, it wasn't developed by committees or Congress didn't have a lot of input. I didn't hear anything about it from the Senate or from the House of Representatives. So.
Oh, so that's what you meant by executive order.
Yeah. it comes out of
decided.
It comes from the executive branch of government.
Okay.
So I don't think there was that much influence and input, other than the executive branch of our government often meets with Apple and big tech for their input and influence. So I think it's yet to be determined as to whether this is a good first step. At least it's something out there.
Yeah.
In contrast to what Prime Minister Sunak said in his talk, I would say what Sunak had to say was much more transparent and showing interest in controlling and helping the public and helping the world understand what AI is doing. Whereas what the executive order is doing right now is, I think, an initial baby step in America.
All right. Well, it's a step.
The Inflection AI company that has developed chatbot and a entity called Pi, which you can chat with. You need to watch this on YouTube. Or,
Yeah, you recommended it. I haven't gotten to it yet.
Google it or bring up chatbot conversations with Pi.
Okay.
Pi is a very interesting responder and tries to answer your questions and tries to stimulate you into thinking and asking more questions, and is not controversial. And apparently the development of Pi was to, down the road, help artificial intelligence be an aid for your transactions in life, whether it's buying airline tickets, ordering something for you, helping you with your travel schedule. It's like it's hoped to be an extension of your mind, of your own mind.
Yeah.
That's kind of scary to wonder where that could go.
That expression scares me.
And the people who are working in Inflection AI are saying this could be a powerful tool for people who are lonely, because it'll be like your handheld device that you can talk with and will interact with you. But is that back to artificial intimacy?
So it's artificial.
Artificial intimacy.
There's no warm body.
And then
there was a movie. I think it was called Her. I always forget the actor's name, but he falls in love with his computer, which has a female voice.
Yes. Another remark that the Inflection CEO AI, the Inflection AI CEO made was that they're still looking at ways to develop AI helping you spiritually. Can AI actually help develop your spiritual development? Could AI be as good as Billy Graham? Could AI be as personable and as helpful and as influential as the Bible? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Nor can it be as helpful as a human being who is a pastor or an assistant pastor or a youth minister, people who serve in different capacities at churches, the people-to-people contact. That is what America is starving for.
And that's back to non-governmental. I mean, just think of Salvation Army, the Catholic Charities, all these other organizations that are not government, but which are out there trying to help people and integrate people and socialize people, whether it's on a county level. And it's even Fred and John Talks.
That's right.
Because we're after people sharing ideas, eyeballing each other and talking, and being enthralled by what another human being has to say. Just like whenever I was talking to this lady who had the strokes.
Yeah.
The bottom line, I think, for this little session and segment, though, Fred, is who will protect us? Is the government going to protect us? Is big tech going to protect us?
No.
No? Remember the Constitution, the famous phrase is, we the people.
Yeah.
We the people have the power, and we the people have the control. And we the people, I think, have to speak up and tell government or tell tech or tell whoever is trying to influence us what we want.
We have to have a voice.
We have to have a voice. Absolutely. So that was what I wanted to share with you today and chit chat for a bit. But there's a lot more on this topic, and
So we'll revisit it.
We'll revisit it,
and we'll keep visiting it. You know, I almost wasn't going to bring this up, but I'm going to say it anyway. But I don't remember exactly what they did. But there was a program years ago. It was a people helping program, and it was called Person to Person. And I decided to mention it because of what that, the connotation of that is. It's person to person, human being to human being, in person, and that is in contraindication to the way we are living, in this moment in history, where we're interacting more with machines than inanimate, artificial, than we are interacting with each other. And even though this episode didn't focus specifically on the topic of loneliness, but this has huge implications and explains a lot about why people are so lonely, paradoxically, at a time when supposedly we have access to so many people. Oh, so and so has 2,000 Facebook friends.
They're being more isolated.
Yeah, it's more isolating. And in mental health, we have an expression, not to bash Facebook, and there's a lot of good things about it, but we have a couple of expressions. One is Facebook depression, where people are on Facebook a lot and they see what people post, and what do they post? They post about their vacations and their newborn babies and
their new car.
Yeah, their new car and all that's going really well in their life. And then we have another expression among therapists, Facebook divorce, where people who are struggling in their marriages. And I'm not just talking about marriages that are really bad. I'm just talking about where people get disillusioned and they see conflicts in marriage as signs that, oh, I married the wrong person or this or that. And then they're on Facebook reconnecting with old flames. And I've seen this. I've counseled people who reconnect with people on Facebook and other social media platforms and get together with them. They have affairs. They leave their spouse for that one. I know I'm going off on a tangent here, but it all ties together. It's all part of a tapestry.
Let me leave our viewers with this last little comment. A few days ago, I was watching Cheddar News on the television.
What was that word?
Cheddar. It's called Cheddar News.
Okay.
Like cheddar cheese.
Okay.
And the segment is called On a Positive Note. And it only shows quick little segments of people doing good for somebody else, or something that good that happened in the community.
Yeah.
Or the Lions Club did this. Or Kiwanis did that.
Good deeds.
Good deeds. And I thought, there needs to be more of that.
There needs to be more of that. And can we end on a funny note?
Sure.
When I hear the expression good deeds, you know what I think of?
What?
My favorite movie, and we did an episode on this, my favorite movie is The Wizard of Oz. And toward the end, the wizard is giving out the heart and the brain and this and that and everything. And he says, where I come from, we have people who do nothing all day but good deeds. They are called Philip, good deed doers.
Good deed.
He can't think of the word philanthropist. On that note.
That's a wrap.
That's a wrap. Ciao.
Ciao. Bye-bye.